Hi everyone, it's Miriam from Miriam's Nature. I've been asked a lot lately how I get lacy or feathery edges in my negative space when I do a pour. And I thought I'd do a quick video to show you. Now, I want to let you know that this video assumes that you know how to do a dirty pour, how to mix your paint, what mediums you want to use, whether or not you're going to use silicone or alcohol or whatever to get your cells. So I guess in a tiny bit of a way, it's an advanced video, but if this is one of the first fluid painting videos you've seen, pull up a chair, get comfy, and watch with us. You might see something that sparks your creativity or gets you excited to try this. Now I'm going to spread some white on the canvas because that's going to be my negative space. I'm going to use a paintbrush to move the paint around, get it all nice and spread. All right, so my canvas is all nice and wet and awaiting the pour. So I'm just going to pour some bands of color. That we will play with. I'm just going to tilt a tiny bit, but not much at all, because we are going to move the paint around a lot on our sort of trip into this land of wispy, feathery wonder. Okay. Now, I kind of already see a little bit of action happening here, but what's going to encourage it even more are a couple of things. One, I'm going to add a little bit more white paint here for it to play against. And any place where the white paint is a little thin, I'm going to add a teeny bit more. So here, maybe down through here a little bit in this corner. Now, if you saw the video before this one where I talk about all the inexpensive tools you can use to move paint, you'll know that two of my favorite things are tubing, like plastic tubing or straws, and forks. Those are the two things that I'm going to use today quite a bit. And I'll probably also use a little bamboo skewer. If you'll notice already here, there's some lacing already happening. And that's because this paint is bleeding into the white that I added here. So I'm not going to have much to do here at all. But in some areas, I might want a little bit more fun to happen. Like there's this interesting little blip here, and if I drag through the paint, I can increase the number of lines of color that bleed out into the paint. I'm gonna see if, yeah, that might be too much light. So I'm just pulling at the paint just very lightly and sort of causing little hairs to come off. And I might do something like that here in this corner, and you can sort of swiggle it as you pull away so that you have like wavy little lines coming off. And then what you can also do is use, like I'm going to use this little tube here, and aim at areas where you want some more paint to shoot out into the white, and that will lace as well. Now I'm purposefully using a very thin tube. The thinner the tube, the less air you're going to blow. I could use a thicker one, but if a thicker one will blow too much, I want to make these little lines that escape be delicate. So I'm using very thin tubing on purpose. Now with the fork, what's nice about a fork is you're going to get, however many tines your fork has, you're going to get those lines all coming out in a parallel way. So if I drag the fork now, let's say, where can I take it? About here. I will get multiple lines coming out, and they're all going to come out in a parallel way. Every area has nice sort of cells or striping, except for this one little area of green here. This little patch of green's a little more solid than I would like it. So what I can do with the fork now is add striping to it. Let me see what angle to use so that you can best see that. So that makes it look a little bit more natural, like it happened almost in the pour. Now let's say after you've done something like that, you're thinking, oh, I wish there was just a little bit more pink. Well, then take your fork or your skewer and then just dunk it slightly into your color so that you just have a little bit of that color on the end, and then run it through. Try it, see if that's enough. If it's not, go in, get a little bit more. And then run the color through. And that way you can add paint gradually to an area without like pouring paint there and making it look out of place. When you use a fork, you don't have to come at it always at the same angle. You can change the angle. In other words, rather than going this way only, you can go sideways also, or slightly sideways, so that you get a variation in how those lines form. Now let's say you look at this and you think, oh, you know, I wish there had been a negative space here or someplace else. Well, I'm going to make this corner white now. So as not to have too much paint here, I'm going to scrape this off and I'm going to replace it with white. So I'm just going to pour some white here to take the place of what had been here before. Now, once the white bumps up against the color that's there, that color will lace into the white, but let's help it along. Now, there are a couple of things I can do. I can pull color into the white, or I can pull white into the color. Now, you can go either way. For the purpose of this, I'm going to pull white into the color just to show you that too. So I'm going to put the fork now in the white, and I'm going to bring it in a little bit. And what that's going to do is it's going to break up your line and sort of add a little bit of interest. Now, if you're going to go white into the color, you want to wipe your tool between each of those passes so that you don't continually dirty the white back up again by bringing paint into the white. So now I'm going to come back into the white and drag a little bit more in. So it gives the edge a little bit of interest. right along here, there's sort of like a straight line with the white. So I'm going to break that up just a teeny bit. Just going to come in here, pull in a little, just like that. Wipe and do a little bit there. And that is enough. It just gives you other options for doing things to the painting that you might have wished had happened but didn't. So there are still ways to add little elements yourself, because so much of just pouring and tilting doesn't give us everything we might want sometimes. So we can influence more aspects of what's going on in the paint. If I put my skewer down at an angle, I can do almost like a swipe. Now what that's going to do is give me a wider band of color going into the white, and that will often create cells, if you can see that there. I'll do that again to show you. So I'm not coming down straight up and down like this. I'm kind of lying it down, almost like I'm going to use it like a palette knife, but on a much smaller scale. This little blip, I don't know, it draws my eye too much, so I'm going to do something about that. I'm going to drop a little bit of white here. For this, I want to be a little bit more delicate in how I bring the white in. So I'm just going to use the bamboo skewer. And if you're using a bamboo skewer, be gentle. These are pointy. This is a canvas, and you don't want to poke through your canvas. And if I want now, I can bring some of the color back out into the white. Now, for those of you that use a torch, I'm going to bring it over here, for example, to sell and get that area to be lacy, and over here, maybe a little bit over there, some down here. I will take you down to see all of that. Now, you have a way of making the paint do more of what you want it to do. You're the boss of the painting. Don't let the paint tell you what it's going to do all the time. Sometimes you get to tell it what it's going to do. Okay, let's look at this close up to see all the little details that got added that you will be able to do now too to your paintings. Because if I can do it, you can do it. Now, this is the painting wet. At the very end, I'll show it to you dry. As always, I hope you got something out of this and that now you feel inspired to go and let your nature come out through your painting. If this helped, let me know with a thumbs up. It totally encourages me to keep going. And definitely leave comments. I do read all of them, and they totally make my day. Another way to really help out is to share this with your friends and social media groups that you think could benefit from this. And of course, for yourself, if you aren't a subscriber yet, what are you waiting for? It's free, it's fun, and there's so much more to come. And I want you to be able to gobble up as much of it as you can. So just click that subscribe button, click the little bell next to it so that you know when there's a new video, and I will see you next time. May the paints be kind to you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye now.